Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samueli. With me today, of course, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Lavelle. So, Peter, last week we talked at some length about the case of Pavel Durov, who was arrested just about a week ago in France, and now is essentially being indicted in France subsequent to his arrest. He has to stay in France, awaiting the outcome of this investigation, and basically he's on bail, unable to leave the country, and we really don't know whether France will pursue criminal charges against him or not, but he can't leave the country. So that's the case of Durov and Telegram. In the meantime, this assault against free speech and against the platforms providing for free speech is continuing at a nice clip elsewhere. Elon Musk is maybe even more in the crosshairs than Durov, because Musk has a much greater global profile than Durov has. And we've talked about how Musk was threatened just a couple of weeks ago by Thierry Breton, the EU commissioner, who warned him that if you violate EU laws with your interview with Donald Trump, just that interview that he's going to post on Twitter or X, you were in violation of EU laws, and we're going to hit you. 6% of global revenue. That's a lot of money for a company like Twitter. And of course, the British have been targeting Musk. But the latest confrontation with Musk has come in Brazil. This is part of a long ongoing fight between Twitter and this strange Supreme Court justice in Brazil, Alessandro Moraes, who has been threatening Twitter for some time, and he's basically shut it down. That's it. Twitter has just simply been shut down in Brazil. It is no longer accessible. And Moraes, when he shut it down, he said that any scumbag, any Brazilian scumbag who tries to use VPN to get onto Twitter will be hit with I think something like I can't remember the exact number. I mean, we'll look at it. 9,000 euros a day or $9,000 a day. But people are apparently defying him and say, yeah, I'm still going to use VPN to get onto Twitter.
And Bolsonaro is still president, right?
Bolsonaro, no, exactly. The bad guy. He was the bad guy. Everyone, whomever
He was the bad guy.
He was the dictator. The dictator. So let's just take a look at some of the stories. And what's also interesting, and which we can maybe talk about, is how the media are, the Western media are responding to the plight of Musk, and of course they're responding to it with glee and looking for, hey, can we have more, please? So here we have Musk's ex is banned in Brazil after disinformation row. Disinformation. But now disinformation, this is the allegation that is made about X. You know, there is no such thing as disinformation. People just throw this around. It's a newly invented term, and it's just something that you turn around and against somebody. It's like, like sexism. Nobody exactly knows what sexism is, but you can just use it and then as a weapon against anyone you don't like. X, formerly Twitter, has been banned in Brazil after failing to meet a deadline set by a Supreme Court judge to name a new legal representative in the country. But now, very important, this business of the new legal representative, because before Musk had named a legal representative, whom this judge then immediately threatened to arrest. And in fact, after she left the country, he seized her bank accounts. So understandably, Musk isn't very keen on naming another legal representative who could just simply be arrested and thrown into prison. So Alexandre de Moraes ordered the immediate and complete suspension of the social media platform until it complies with all court orders and pay existing fines. The row began in April with the judge ordering the suspension of dozens of X accounts for allegedly spreading disinformation. So he hasn't yet, Musk hasn't committed any crime other than he has refused to suspend accounts on the orders of a judge. Some judge decides you have to suspend these accounts because, and why must I suspend them? Well, because they're spreading disinformation. Reacting to the decision, ex-owner Elon Musk said free speech is the bedrock of democracy, and an unelected pseudo-judge in Brazil is destroying it for political purposes.
I bet that went down well.
Yes, the judge really appreciates that kind of comment. Pseudo-judge. Justice Moraes has ordered that X accounts accused of spreading disinformation, many supporters of the former right-wing president Bolsonaro, must be blocked while they are under investigation. They must be blocked. You have to block accounts. They're not allowed. They're under investigation, so they're not allowed to communicate. They're not allowed to speak while they're under investigation. Not even while they're on trial or anything like that. They're under investigation, so then they should not be allowed to communicate. He said the company's legal representatives would be held liable if any accounts were reactivated. So you must appoint a legal representative.
Where's the due process here?
Yeah, there's none. There's no due process. It's just one judge. He's just a ruling from the bench. X has been threatened with fines for refusing to comply with this order, with the company and Mr. Musk joining critics in Brazil in accusing the judge as being left-wing. I think this is CNN. So there's a little more to it than that. They're not just saying this judge is a tyrant, not just that he's left-wing. And then Justice Moraes has given companies such as Apple and Google a 5-day deadline to remove X from its application stores and block its use on iOS and Android systems. He added that peoples or businesses using means such as VPNs to access information, to access the platform could be fined. So that's £6,700. So that's a nice chunk of change. But I think it's a day. I don't think it's just by that. It could be fined. That's, I think, £6,700 a day.
So now they're gonna start monitoring VPNs. Okay, good.
That's right. According to the judge's order, a ban will be in effect until X names a new legal representative in the country and pays fines for violating Brazilian law. In a previous post from one of its official accounts, X had said it would not comply with the demands. So that's it. No X in Brazil. Meanwhile, the bank accounts of Mr. Musk's satellite internet firm Starlink have been frozen in Brazil following an earlier order by the country's.
What does Starlink have to do with anything?
Exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, you're just going after Starlink just because it's owned by Musk, but it has nothing to do with Twitter. Starlink responded with a post on X which said that the order is based on an unfounded determination that Starlink should be responsible for the fines levied unconstitutionally against X, which sounds a common sense position. Justice Moraes gained prominence after his decision to restrict social media platforms in the country. Gained prominence. Oh, this is probably, he's been in the business of restricting social media platforms in the country. He's also investigating Mr. Bolsonaro and his supporters for their roles in an alleged attempted coup on the 8th of January last year. Then it says, X is not the first social media company to come under pressure from authorities in Brazil. Last year, Telegram was temporarily banned over its failure to cooperate with requests to block certain profiles.
And we have a pattern here. Okay.
There is a pattern. It's very, very interesting. It's Meta's messaging service, WhatsApp, also faced temporary bans in 2015 and 2016 for refusing to comply with police requests for user data. And again, as you said earlier, and where's Bolsonaro in all this? Wasn't he? I mean, none of this has anything to do with Bolsonaro. He was supposed to.
Yeah, but one of the things that's really missing here, and maybe it will eventually come up, I don't know. But I mean, isn't legal decisions based on existing law? I mean, what are the laws that
No,
this
exactly. That's exactly very, very interesting. What
what,
law?
I mean,
What
the
law
judge
was
is
broken?
interpreting the law, right? I mean, so what are the laws?
That's right.
We
Exactly.
don't get any of that here.
That's right. That's right. But that's the point Musk is making. But here, it doesn't matter. These are just decisions that this judge makes, and there's no legal procedure because normally you have a legal procedure. If you say, well, this is, I think, a completely incorrect application of the law, then you would go put forward your argument, and then you have courts would have hearings on that. Here, he's just basically saying you've got to comply with my decrees, or else we're just going to take away your money, block access to your.
Well, I know Western journalism is very lazy. They hate doing any kind of work here, but I mean, this would be an opportunity. Can you show us the PDF of the legal decision
That's right.
based on Brazilian law? I
Right.
mean, this is pretty big deal here.
Right.
Okay. Telegram and X are very popular in Brazil. Okay.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
this is turning into a human rights issue here when it comes to some. I know that, I think it's only the United States that has the First Amendment about speech, but other countries have similar laws, not approaching what the First Amendment is. But I mean,
Right.
all of these countries have speech laws.
That's right. And you have to then exactly show what law are you violating. Just simply saying, well, these accounts are spreading disinformation. That doesn't tell me what law is being violated here. I mean, just because
I
you
mean,
don't like
so
these accounts.
I hope this judge is shutting down or threaten the shutdown of most government websites around the world. Okay.
That's right. And then here's a CNN. Brazil begins to block X as Elon Musk's feud with judge deepens. Notice again,
But
it's
isn't it
about
that,
Musk. Musk is the
yeah, but
is the
isn't it the
guilty party
judge
here.
has a feud with Musk?
Yeah, exactly. It's Musk. So it's Musk who's being unreasonable. And you think, you're a media outlet. You should be very wary of some judge, some crazy judge ruling from the bench and just shutting down media outlets. And then here we have anyone trying to access X in Brazil was blocked on Saturday after the country enforced a court-ordered suspension of Elon Musk's social media site. Over the past 24 hours, Brazilians, including President Lula, have been bidding farewell to X, with some posting links to their profiles on other social media platforms. Attempts to access the sites on a web browser through the app on Saturday were met with an error message. The blockage comes after Brazil's Supreme Court on Friday ordered the suspension of X nationwide because Musk refused to name a legal representative in the country.
I bet you Glenn Greenwald's using a VPN.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure. Yeah, and he's saying, yeah, all right, come and get me. Come and yeah. Brazilian law requires companies operating in the jurisdiction to have legal representation. Well, yeah, but you're not supposed to threaten your legal representation. You can't threaten your lawyer with imprisonment. Then that kind of vitiates having legal representation. But X, formerly known as Twitter, shut down its Brazilian representative office on August 17th after Justice Alexandre de Moraes threatened to prosecute its local representatives over its reluctance to comply with orders to block users. So he orders that you have to block these users. I just don't like these users because they're supporters of Bolsonaro. And in saying, he threatens to prosecute, Twitter X local representatives because they don't want to block these users. It further escalates a months-long feud over free speech, far-right accounts, always get that in, the far-right accounts, and misinformation. The Supreme Court previously issued orders to block multiple X accounts as part of Brazil's sweeping investigation into the spread of misinformation online and hate speech aimed at undermining the country's democracy. Notice how this is CNN, how they just put these things down, never any real questions about it. Don't you think that there's something a little worrying when governments start talking in this vague way about misinformation and hate speech and undermining a country's democracy, and in the name of all these vagaries, they plan to shut down people's accounts and people's websites and
Well,
whatever.
presumably CNN has a Brazilian account.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's right. But fortunately, they're in good odor, and no one's going to threaten to shut them down. And then here we have De Moraes warned Musk on Wednesday night that X could be blocked in Brazil if he failed to comply with the order to name a representative and established a 24-hour deadline.
The same representative that could be arrested.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So I'm kind of reluctant to name a representative because he or she is going to be shoved immediately into prison.
And their bank accounts shut down.
And their bank accounts frozen. He said the platform would remain blocked until it complies. Musk has criticized De Moraes, accusing him of muzzling free speech in the country. Accusing him. I mean, imagine that's such an outrageous accusation. You're muzzling free speech. I'm protecting speech. I'm here to protect free speech. Brazilian President Lula said Friday that Musk must comply with the country's laws. So so you can see how Lula cherishes freedom. Any and every citizen from any part of the world who has investments in Brazil is subject to the Brazilian constitution and Brazilian laws. And as you say, what laws? I still haven't seen that law that Moraes is applying. He also pushed back against some of Musk's comments, saying he can't go around insulting presidents, insulting deputies, insulting the Senate, insulting the chamber, insulting the Supreme Court. Who does he think he is?
He's just a guy expressing his opinion. Suck it up. Get used to it.
He can't go around insulting president. Why not?
Why not?
Where does it say you can't go around insulting president?
Why not?
I love it. Talk about mask falling off. When Lula talks like this, you can't go around insulting president, insulting deputies. Insult, not not attacking them or anything, just insulting them. I feel insulted. You can't go around doing that.
If you're in the public eye, get used to it.
You get insulted. You're going to get insulted. Yeah. The president added, that guy has to accept the rules of this country, and if this country made a decision through the Supreme Court, he has to comply. If it applies to me, it applies to him.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. I mean, who's the law here? It sounds like the judge is the law.
Exactly. Just one judge who's just ruling from the bench. He's just simply saying, oh, I'm applying the law, and I'm just basically bringing free speech to an end. The feud widened on Friday when the Supreme Court denied an appeal by satellite internet company Starlink, also owned by Musk, to unfreeze its financial accounts. The financial accounts of Starlink, an internet service provider, which the tech billionaire also owns through SpaceX, were blocked in the country on Thursday to ensure payment of fines imposed as part of illegal disputes involving X. So he's already hit Musk with all these fines. And then he's basically frozen the account of Starlink, which of course has nothing to do with X. Again, it seems very strange how you can do this. I mean, these things have to be done through some legal procedure whereby Starlink can be held liable for any fines incurred by
This
X.
this is taking a hostage.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Starlink is used by more than 250,000 people in Brazil. The service, which does not require any cable connection, is particularly popular in the Amazon rainforest and remote rural locations, used by academics, tourism operators, and public offices in the region, as well as Brazilian.
Yeah, that's called creating a level playing field. That's why it's such a remarkable piece of technology.
Right.
The weakest of among us have access. We have equal access just like rich people. Okay, wow, and this is supposed to be a left-wing government. Okay.
That's right. I think it's a very good point. And that generally is the key issue involved with the internet, because the internet is a great leveler. It's a, that's what's important here. The attack is here on the internet because it is a leveler. It allows ordinary people to have access to information that in the past was only limited to a very small group of people had access. Now information is available to everyone. So that, of course, that alarms powerful people everywhere. We can't have people having access to information. During Starlink's appeal, the company argued that the company is not a part of the case against X, and that the order to freeze its accounts violates its basic property rights.
This is CNN, right?
This is CNN, yes.
Where's their, according to expert, I mean, can you give us, someone's legal opinion? Like, yeah,
Right.
this is kind of insane. Okay.
That's
But
right.
no,
Exactly.
it's just, straight across the line. No, this is it's not part of the case, and this is outrageous. Okay.
Yes.
Can we get some meat on these bones here?
That's right. Exactly. That's exactly right. It is absolutely outrageous. Friday's ruling on Starlink does not immediately impact the company, though the company warned in a statement that it prevents Starlink from conducting financial transactions in the country. The order is based on an unfounded determination that Starlink should be responsible for the fines levied unconstitutionally against X, the internet provider said in the statement.
On X.
Yes.
Late on, people in Brazil didn't hear that.
Right. Yes. Late on Thursday, Musk said Starlink service will remain active for free as the company cannot receive payments due to the judicial order.
Who looks good in all this, George?
Definitely not Lula, and definitely not Moraes. Many remote schools and hospitals depend on SpaceX's Starlink, Musk wrote on X. And then here we go. How this Brazilian judge. This goes back to what happened in April, and we talked about that back in April. How one Brazilian judge could suspend Elon Musk's X, and this is again Moraes threatened to suspend social media giant X nationwide if Musk doesn't swiftly comply with one of his orders. And then again, earlier this month, X removed its legal representative from Brazil on the grounds that de Moraes had threatened her with arrest. So, yeah, I mean, you kind of, I have a lawyer, but the moment you bring a lawyer, this judge is just going to have this lawyer immediately seized and thrown in prison. On Wednesday night, de Moraes gave the platform 24 hours to appoint a new representative or face a shutdown until his order is met. De Moraes' order is based on Brazilian law requiring foreign companies to have legal representation to operate in the country.
Yeah, but what if the country doesn't allow that to happen?
That's right. Exactly. I have to say, I've never come across the idea that you can actually threaten a lawyer, that just, because essentially you're punishing his client, and so you take it out on the lawyer.
It's mafia behavior.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we have lone Brazilian judges shut down Meta's WhatsApp, the nation's most widely used messaging app, several times in 2015, 2016, due to the company's refusal to comply with police requests for user data. And then in 2022, de Moraes threatened the messaging app Telegram with a nationwide shutdown, arguing that it had repeatedly ignored Brazilian authorities' requests to block profiles and provide information. So again, block, this de Moraes, he's been kind of busy for some time. Block profiles and provide information. And weren't we all upset about when Russia was doing this? I seem to remember, we had all these human rights organizations, chorus of indignation over Russia.
And Telegram still works here, and
Yes.
X still works here. For political reasons, X was found to be a unfriendly platform. There's no, it's not illegal to have a VPN, and that's how everyone accesses here. Crisis resolved.
Yeah. He ordered Telegram also to appoint a local representative. The company ultimately complied and stayed online. And then Elon Musk will be investigated over fake news and obstruction in Brazil after Supreme Court order. Again, notice how they don't
see a
put
pattern here, George. I see a pattern here.
Yeah, notice how there's no quotes around fake news, no quotes around obstruction. You know, they just put that there as if and then here a crusading. Oh, he's a crusading Brazilian Supreme Court justice. He's a crusader. You know, burning with the zeal of idealism. The Supreme Court justice has included Elon Musk as a target in an ongoing investigation over the dissemination of fake news and has opened a separate investigation into the US business executive for alleged obstruction. In his decision, Justice Alexandre de Moraes noted that Musk on Saturday began waging a public disinformation campaign. Imagine that. Regarding the top court's actions, and that Musk continued the following day, most notably with comments that his social media company X would cease to comply with the court's orders to block certain accounts. And it says Musk had accused de Moraes of suppressing free speech and violating Brazil's constitution, and noted on X that users could seek to bypass any shutdown of the social media platform by using VPN or so. But again, you notice how the U.S. government isn't going in to bat for X. You know, this is this American company. No one's basically doing anything.
Really good point. Really good point.
And
the media is not going to bat.
No, I mean exactly. And we'll come to that. You know, the media's attitude to all this. Musk will be investigating for alleged intentional criminal instrumentalization of X as part of an investigation into a network of people known as digital militias who allegedly spread defamatory fake news and threats against Supreme Court justices, according to the text of the decision.
Oh, this looks like a RICO investigation.
It says, but notice, alleged intentional criminal instrumentalization. I'm trying to figure out what does that mean. X, as part of an investigation into a network of people known as digital militias. What exactly are digital militias? I mean, you can be a militia, you know, carrying a gun and so on, but a digital militia, you're sitting at home, you know, on your couch, typing away, who allegedly spread defamatory fake news. So that's their crime. They were spreading defamatory fake news.
Why is it? It's defamatory, as if there is another form of fake news. I mean, what
non-defamatory.
Non-defamatory.
But maybe is that defamatory non-fake news? You know, you can have interesting.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Nice variant, George.
Exactly. The new investigation will look into whether Musk engaged in obstruction, criminal organization, and incitement. So that, you know, there's a nice few things to investigate Musk on.
So they're generating a digital mugshot here.
That's right. That's right. I have to say, if I were Musk, I really wouldn't do too much traveling. So I mean, you know, maybe go to Asia, but I wouldn't go to Europe.
Oh, I don't know, George. I mean, I would take the long game here. Okay, if the authorities want to shut down X Twitter in Brazil, well, go right ahead. Let's see let's wait out this game. I think it's going to come back and bite the authorities. Okay, I really do.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. And then the flagrant conduct of obstruction of Brazilian justice, incitement of crime, the public threat of disobedience of court orders, and future lack of cooperation from the platform are facts that disrespect the sovereignty of Brazil. De Moraes.
Yeah, but all other news reports here is that they're willing to send in a lawyer. I mean, it's parlay. That's from what we've done so far. That's not possible right now.
Right. No, but exactly. And then, Brazil's political rights are again, has long characterized de Moraes as overstepping his bounds to clamp down on free speech and engage in political persecution.
Yeah, but you don't have to be someone on the political right to say that.
No,
Okay.
exactly. There's enough evidence here to suggest that that's a pretty correct diagnosis. In the digital militias investigation, lawmakers from
George, do you know what a digital militia is?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds to me
I don't know what it is either. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it sounds to me like people sitting at their keyboard, typing things that powerful people don't like to see posted. I mean, that's all I can think of as a digital militia. Hey, I didn't care for that Facebook post of yours, so you're part of a digital militia. Lawmakers from Bolsonaro's circles have been imprisoned and his supporters' homes raided. So again, let's read that. In the digital militias investigation, lawmakers from Bolsonaro's circle have been imprisoned. This is just simply digital militias investigations. No, there's no violence or anything like that. It's just people writing their opinions. So this Bolsonaro circle have been in prison and his supporters' homes raided. And then Bolsonaro himself became a target of the investigation in 2021. So again, you could see how this whole idea that you're saying things that we don't like is leading to people getting imprisoned, their homes raided, and worse. I mean, this de Moraes, he has no intention of stopping that. And then the justice in March 2022 ordered the shutdown of Telegram on the grounds that platform repeatedly ignored requests from Brazilian authorities, including a police request to block profiles and provide information linked to this blogger, an ally of Bolsonaro's, accused of spreading falsehoods. Again, spreading falsehoods. Dos Santos' account is one of those blocked on X in Brazil. Less than 48 hours after issuing his order in 2022, de Moraes said Telegram had complied and permitted it to resume operation. So again, it's very interesting. I mean, it seems that Telegram has been quite cooperative, which then raises the question, so what was the issue? Why is Durov under arrest?
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that you mentioned it, I mean, it seems quite obvious to me now that the bail, setting bail and allowing him to, I suppose, reside in a very cushy environment in Paris. Yep. What he's used to this is time for negotiation.
Oh, I think so, absolutely.
Which would be, historically relevant considering how he's dealt with authorities around the world.
Right. No, I think that's absolutely. I think that's the goal, and I think the French are going to flatter him, and Macron. He's had good relations in the past with Macron, and I think Macron was going to ply him with all sorts of goodies. I got to think maybe move to France. De Moraes defenders have said his decision, although extraordinary, are legally sound and necessary to purge social media of fake news, as well as to extinguish threats to Brazilian democracy. Well, that's what his defenders are bound to say. And then, so this is from the Financial Times. And look at this, Pavel Durov and the limits of free speech. So this face of this is not Pavel Durov's face. This is some Financial Times journalist's face. And he says, Telegram has failed to
distinguish. Just looking at this guy's mug, he has a lot of limits himself. But
yeah, I think so. Telegram has failed to distinguish between the demands of autocratic regimes and the legitimate democratic requests. Just before we go on, listen. So these legitimate democratic requests involved all the COVID nonsense, removing all the posts which questioned the orthodoxy on COVID. Most of those postings were actually now turned out to be correct. It involved the removal of posts about Hunter Biden's laptop. That's been correct. And then, of course, all the questions about the election. So it's interesting. He dubs this as legitimate democratic. What was legitimate about them?
And these are in quote unquote legitimate democratic societies.
Legitimate democratic societies. And then he goes on, civil society organizations and law enforcement agencies have grown increasingly concerned about the nefarious uses of Telegram, which they argue has become the new dark web. In particular, the French judicial authorities are investigating the platform for diffusing material about child sexual abuse and enabling criminal networks. And then he goes on, in so doing, Telegram does not appear to distinguish between threatening demands of autocratic regimes and legitimate requests of law enforcement authorities in democratic countries. But
that's not true. Look, Telegram has had trouble all over the world, irrespective of regime type.
Well, that's the thing. You see, what he's saying is that, yeah, I mean, when you defy Russia, then we're going to support you. You're going to say, right, right on. Yeah, absolutely, you must defy Putin. But when we demand that you take down this post or that post, give us this information, then there's a legitimate request of the democratic authorities, even though and this is we get it from Zuckerberg himself, that those were completely illegitimate requests.
And the judge in Brazil is not democratically elected.
He's not democratic, exactly, not democratically elected. Nor has it fully explained its mysterious banning and unbanning by the Russian authorities and its subsequent popularity among Kremlin officials. Notice
this guy obviously knows nothing about Telegram anyway.
No. But I always love this kind of the insinuation. You're kind of insinuating something. Well, the mysterious banning and unbanning.
Look, Telegram, and when he had Durov had his scuffle with the Russian authorities, they cut a deal.
Right.
Okay, that's the obvious conclusion here. So I don't know what it has to do with regime type, democracy, autocracy. I have no idea.
No, it doesn't have anything. But but the point here, and this is one of the sort of this Western journalism thing, is that, well, when we impose restrictions, when we send you to prison, those are legitimate. Those are legitimate restrictions on free speech. When they do it, then we're all in high dudgeon and demand immediate release. So, but we never find when we imprison Julian Assange, that's fine. That's that's in order to protect societies, but they cannot be allowed to do it. And then this says, the service is also less secure than it seems. Telegram does not offer users end-to-end encryption on all their messages by default, as WhatsApp and Signal do.
I disagree with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of puzzled about that, because then what's all the fuss about? I mean, if it's less secure than they are, then I don't understand. The somewhat infantile stance of libertarian absolutists is that there should be no limits on free speech, but a free society is not just about freedom of expression, it also revolves around the observance of laws and the protection of other precious human rights, which we then determine, like what those precious human rights are.
Well, did they get a quote from Scott Ritter on this one?
Quite, yeah, exactly. Ritter and the rest, yeah. Or Richard Medhurst and
Dimitri Simes would probably like to chime
Dimitri Simes, exactly. Anyway, so then democracies may be messy, but they are the best mechanisms we know for adjudicating. This is kind of thrown on and on. Anyway, then we have Robert Reich. You remember Robert Reich? He was the Labor secretary under Bill Clinton. And then he was also a Russiagator, big Russiagator. And here says, Elon Musk is out of control. Here's how to rein him in. rein him in. So this is how, you know, this is an argument for how governments should rein in this person who's providing a platform that he himself, he doesn't control this platform. It's just a platform for free speech. He may be the richest man in the world, but that doesn't mean we're powerless to stop him. And then, you know, Elon Musk rapidly transforming his enormous wealth into a huge source of unaccountable political power that's now backing Trump and other authoritarians.
So that's his sin.
It is, and that's what's so interesting, because right, has he ever written the same thing about George Soros, who, you know, who also uses his vast fortune to and does it far more than Musk does in order to support his favorite political candidates, not to mention a lot of other billionaires who use their money, like indeed Zuckerberg himself. So Musk owns X. He publicly endorsed Donald Trump last month. Before that, Musk helped to form a pro-Trump super political action committee. Meanwhile, the former US president has revived his presence on the X platform.
What is this?
What exactly? What's so?
Why are we doing this, George?
Well, no, but because you got to watch what he then does here, because he actually advocates moving against Musk.
I'm pulling your leg.
Yeah, I know. This says, according to a new report from the Center for Countering Digital Hate. This is another one of these kind of disinformation outfits, lavishly funded by governments. They always say these things, and you imagine some idealist kids, sitting in some, dingy little office somewhere. No, these are lavishly funded organizations, like what was it, the one, which was the Center for Strategic Dialogue, which another one, information warfare. Musk himself has posted 50 false election claims on X so far this year.
Well, are they false?
Exactly. You just say these things, they're false.
I haven't seen all 50 of them, but I mean, they're actually more posed as questions as
right. Exactly. I mean, it's like, but they always do this thing, this false thing. He's falsely said. Evidence is mounting that Russia and other foreign agents are using X to disrupt this year's presidential race, presumably in favor of Trump. I thought that the CIA said Iran is interfering in this election, but Iran is actually working against Trump. They actually thought Iran may even be trying to assassinate Trump. So, you got to get your stories straight. Musk has done little to stop them.
I mean, this is a perfect segue to reintroduce Russiagate too.
Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly. Besides, I think RT is I don't think RT is not allowed on Twitter.
It has a presence, but not directly as
right.
RT.
I mean, I think that some people on RT have presence, but RT itself.
Yeah, well, I'm on it. Okay.
You're on it. I mean, Simonian is on it, but RT itself is not on it. Meanwhile, Musk is supporting right-wing causes around the world. In the UK, far-right thugs burned, looted, and terrorized minority communities as Musk's X spread misinformation about a deadly attack on schools.
What about what Facebook did in the 2020 election?
Yeah,
what about what Facebook did with COVID? What about Facebook and Russiagate? I mean, come on.
That's so important that false fake news about Russiagate, which Reich was very much involved in, that that was spread for years and years and years and did an untold damage. And then he goes, Elon Musk calls himself a free speech absolutist, but has accepted over 80% of censorship requests from authoritarian governments. And then 2 days before the Turkish elections, he blocked accounts critical of the president. So, but this is very strange because what Musk does, tries to work within the laws of the country. He said, I respect the laws of the country. His point with in Brazil was that he's not acting in accordance with the Brazilian laws. So, if he wants to go on being in Turkey, then, he has to comply with the Turkish laws. That's Musk's position. He doesn't want to defy the laws of any country where X is available. But you have to have then the law. You have to actually show what the law is, not just make it up.
But see, this is the slur. Has accepted over 80% of censorship requests from authoritarian government. Right. No, the point is that X is willing to engage with individual governments based on their laws. Okay, right. You don't have to throw authoritarian in there at all. Right. It's neither here nor there. The fact is that he wants to send a legal representative to Brazil to work this out, but right. but the authorities don't want to at least come halfway to talk.
Yeah, but you can't then threaten the legal representative with prison. So
I just got a message on X, from Elon Musk. Here's the message here, at least the top part. Reich is, excuse me, one more time. Reich is such a sweetie. The article that George and I are talking about right now. In real time. Okay, keep going.
Well, that's good. In real time, good. And then and his friendly relations with authoritarians. Are we talking about Musk or Trump? I mean, it's always, his friendly relations with authoritarians often seem to coincide with beneficial treatment of his businesses. Shortly after Musk suggested handing Taiwan over to the Chinese government, Tesla got a tax break from the Chinese government. That is so dumb. He did not suggest handing Taiwan over. It's so... I mean, Musk has had a very friendly relations with China for years and years and years. I mean, that's where he produces his electric vehicles, and he said on Taiwan they took a position. You can agree or disagree, but it's basically a position which is a kind of a commonsensical position. It doesn't make sense to go to war over Taiwan.
Well, and on top, shortly after Musk suggested handing Taiwan over to the Chinese government, well, Taiwan is already part of China.
It's part of Taiwan, and it's not. He doesn't own Taiwan. I can't say, well, here, you can have Taiwan. It's mine, but you can have it. I mean, it's suggested handing Taiwan. Who owns Taiwan? I mean, Taiwan doesn't actually belong to you. So you can just talk about handing something over. As you said, it's actually part of China. So the United States doesn't own it, and Elon Musk doesn't own it. He may be the richest man in the world. He may own one of the world's most influential social, but blah, blah. Here are 6 ways to rein in Musk. And this is probably what he was saying. He's such a sweetie. 1, boycott Tesla. Consumers shouldn't be making him even richer and able to do even more harm. A Tesla boycott may already have begun. And then recent polls said 1/3 of Britons are less likely to buy a Tesla because of Musk's.
Well, maybe 1/3 of Britons are less likely to buy a Tesla is because they're being impoverished, but we'll leave that aside.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know how many Britons are actually in any position to buy a Tesla. Advertisers should boycott X. A coalition of major advertisers has organized such a boycott. Musk is suing them under antitrust law. We tried peace for 2 years. Now it's war, he said, referring to advertisers who criticize him and X. But this was, of course, all went back to that whole fraudulent thing that Media Matters for America, which waged this campaign to try to get the advertisers to boycott X by manipulating. They manipulated the algorithm to suggest that somehow Nazi tweets were appearing next to their ads. It was a fraud. Regulators around the world should threaten Musk with arrest if he doesn't stop disseminating lies and hate on X. Well, that's why he's such a sweetie. Regulators around the world should threaten Musk with arrest if he doesn't stop disseminating lies and hate. Global regulators may be on the way to doing this, as evidenced by the 24th of August arrest of Durov, who founded Telegram, with the French authorities, which French authorities have found complicit in hate crimes and disinformation. I haven't found anything of the sort. I mean, this is an allegation. When did they establish that it's complicit or anything? Like Musk, Durov has styled himself as a free speech absolutist.
Oh, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, that's right. In the United States, the FTC should demand that Musk take down lies that are likely to endanger individual, and if he does not, sue him under the FTC.
Well, I guess Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, they're all going to be banned pretty soon for disseminating lies.
That's right. Yes, that's right. I mean, again, this coming from a repugnant Russiagator who went on for year after year, for him to start talking about lies. Musk's free speech right under the First Amendment don't take precedence over the public interest. Oh, they are. The public, we determine what the public interest. 2 months ago, the US Supreme Court said federal agencies may pressure social media platforms. They didn't say that. That's not what the Supreme Court said. They said he had no standing. They just ruled on the issue of standing, but they never said that federal agencies may pressure social media platforms to take down misinformation. The case failed, but it's on the basis of standing, not because they ruled that that's fine, you can do this. A technical win for the public good, technical because the court based its ruling on the plaintiff's lack of standing to sue. So you've undermined your own argument, but what you just said in the parentheses.
Okay, now he has 5 points, everyone. Okay.
And then the US government and we taxpayers have additional power over Musk. If we are willing to use it, the US should terminate its contracts with him, starting with Musk SpaceX.
Here we go again.
But notice the vehemence, the anger that he's directing at Musk. What has Musk done? He's basically, you don't like it that he's given a platform to people that you don't agree with. He's supporting Trump. Well, he's entitled to that. What about all the billionaires who are on your side? You got enough of those who are supporting Democrats. In 2021, the United States entered into a $1.8 billion classified contract with SpaceX and blah, blah. The funds are now an important part of SpaceX revenue. And so on. The Pentagon has also contracted with SpaceX Starlink broadband service to pay for internet links, despite.
Yeah, well, I guess, they should cut that contract and maybe give it to Boeing and see how that works out, everybody. Okay. I mean, this is just so spiteful. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And then it goes on, about all the things that SpaceX gets from Pentagon. In deciding upon which private sector entities to contract with, the U.S. government is supposed to consider the contractor's reliability. Musk's mercurial, impulsive temperament makes him and the companies he heads unreliable. That's not a criterion whether something is reliable or not, whether he's mercurial or not. I mean, does he deliver on time? Does he deliver quality product? Does he, meet the budget requirements? That's what the reliability, not his mercurial temperament.
Wow, I've never been called mercurial.
Okay. Mercurial. That's a nice word. And then why is the U.S. government allowing Musk's satellites and rocket launchers to become crucial to the nation's security when he's shown utter disregard for the public interest? Why give Musk more economic power when he repeatedly abuses it and demonstrates contempt for the public good? So he's making all kinds of wild assertions for which he has provided no evidence.
But the most amazing thing here, again, George and I have chronicled this since Musk took over Twitter, and I disagree with many of the decisions he's made. But overall, in toto, I think he's showing an amazing regard for the public interest
Right,
in
exactly.
Tokyo.
That's right. There's no question. I mean, if you compare today's Twitter, whatever its flaws, with the Twitter before he took it over, with that Twitter, which was so eagerly cooperating with U.S. government agencies. I mean, it spent all of its time in meetings with FBI and CIA officials. Now, here's another Russiagator. Remember her, Carol Cadwalader? She actually lost a lawsuit because she had made a claim about this guy in Britain, I think Aaron Banks, that he was working with Putin to for Brexit, on behalf of Brexit. And so she made that allegation, and then he sued her, and she lost that case, even though, but the judge, you know, told her, oh, you don't have to pay damages, which was very nice for her. But basically, she was an absolutely ardent Russiagator who actually was taken to court and lost in court. And don't rejoice yet. Elon Musk and his tech bros in arms are winning the global battle for truth. The banning of X in Brazil and the arrest of Telegram boss Pavel Durov won't stop their lies. It was breaking news to alert to lift the spirits and make the heart sing. A tech billionaire arrested as he stepped off his private jet and detained by the French authorities. Happy days.
I wonder how often she flies on a private jet.
She looks like by the looks of it, she has money. Because while the UK police have been charging individuals who incited violence online during the summer's riots, the man who helped to fuel its flames, he didn't help fuel any goddamn flames, has simply tweeted his way through it. It turned out, because you can't have it all, that the man arrested and subsequently charged in France this week was not Elon. It was his bro in arms, Pavel Durov, and Elon alike, who founded the encrypted messaging app Telegram. Though for casual observer, it can be hard to tell where Durov ends and Musk begins.
What a hit piece. Wow.
Yeah. Last week, saw perhaps the first major showdown between the pseudo crypto libertarianism they both espouse and the old-fashioned, resolutely analog concept known as the nation state. Oh, give me a break. This has nothing to do with the nation state. When Viktor Orban asserts the nation state, people like Carol Cadwalader go absolutely crazy. This has nothing to do with the nation state, but somehow this is a kind of, they're trying to do a fake populism, both she and Reich.
Did you notice that Kamala Harris said that in her convention speech? She talked about the virtues of the nation state. I thought it was really disingenuous. I mean, these are the people unraveling it.
Yeah, that's right. But somehow against these all these the tech oligarchs. But the tech oligarchs are actually providing people with a service. You've got a free service. You've got a platform to communicate.
Most of the tech billionaires are in the left's pocket.
Yes.
Okay. So.
That's right. Exactly. That's why they pick. I mean, Durov isn't even political in any way. And Musk, incidentally, Musk used to be a liberal. This is very recent that he's made this political change. But Musk said he supported, well, not just Obama's, but he supported Biden in 2020. And then for anyone who has spent any time pondering the intergalactic levels of entitlement among the tech broligarchy, and the until now total impunity they faced, the arrest and subsequent charging of Durov was a singular moment. And again, we have to just keep in mind, these are people who spent years in column after column lying about Russia, none of which ever sort of is brought up against them. And anyway, then it goes on about there. And then Musk believes in free speech the same way that he believes in free Teslas, free for him, very expensive for everyone else. Why is it very expensive for everyone else? I mean, It's free. I mean, you use it. I mean, I don't pay for Twitter. In between a stream of tweets on how free speech is the bedrock of democracy and censorship is a certainty if Dems win, was another one in which he gloated about a ruling in his libel case against Media Matters for America. Yeah, no, that's that he won a round, so that means the lawsuit goes on. And then this isn't a civilizational battle for free speech, for the future of free speech, and Durov isn't a hero. The charges against him include the decidedly unfuturistic crime of money laundering and his less than heroic failure to suppress the sexual images of children. It's actually a civilizational battle for the truth.
Well, I would agree with that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And Carol Cadwalader, she's in the battle for truth. What we need to face up to is that this is a battle that Musk is winning. His truth is simply louder, faster, disseminating further. His algorithms are spreading his metaphorical seed, spawning an entire generation of mini Musks and would-be Musks who dream of electric cybertrucks. So that, but what
this passes for journalism
this
now.
passes for journalists, but what I just wanted to show is that so Musk is under attack from this crazy judge with applying some law in his own mind. Then we have Durov, is being coerced by the French government, and the media are kind of clapping their hands with glee. Great. This is there's Carol Cadwalader. She's a columnist at the Guardian. Reich, also a columnist at the Guardian. And we talked to that guy at the Financial Times. They're happy with this.
Yeah, but none of them will mention Zuckerberg's letter to Jim Jordan.
That's right. Exactly. All the points that Zuckerberg made there and said, yeah, I kind of shouldn't have done what I did.
Because he's really afraid.
Yes.
He's really afraid.
Yeah.
Because look, isn't it really kind of curious that all of these clowns want the state, they want to use the state to start clamping down on free speech platforms. Well, what happens if there's a change in power in the state? Okay. And maybe the state will make it a priority to protect freedom.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's exactly
because the state doesn't do that right now. Just about every time for the last month that George and I have convened, we've talked about speech issues, okay? Because it's grossly under attack right now, and there's no sign it's going to let up anytime soon. But they want the state to be used to clamp down on free speech, and they're terrified the state might change its mind with someone in power like Trump.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. I mean, all of this really, stems from the fact that they suddenly they lost out on free speech. They were convinced that somehow they'll be able to control speech, and because they're so smart, and speech is really that's something they're good at and everything. So but what happened? Hey, you got Obama. Isn't that fantastic? We social media. We got Obama. They were rejoicing about social media about how because of Obama's supporters. And then we had the Arab Spring. Oh, fantastic! Got rid of all these people in the Arab Spring, and it was the loss to Brexit and then to Trump in quick succession. That's what caused this hysteria. About social media, we can't allow people just to start, speaking freely. We can't do that. They're going to make wrong decisions.
That's right. The problem with these people is they've lost the time, at least as a Western tenant, is that if you don't like bad speech, counter it with good speech. Okay, people have nothing good to say.
No,
at all.
No. Because even when they liked social media for Obama, they only liked it because they thought they couldn't control it. It'd always be under their control. So this is fantastic. We use social media and we're always going to be in control. And we're going to have, Obama's bots, they're going to be telling us how great Obama is. And then suddenly they realize, other people are going to use speech, and the outcomes will not be things that.
Well, and going back to the Starlink, other peoples are going to use speech. yeah, those that don't have the means of the rich and powerful,
Right.
they need to use speech.
That's
This
right.
is see, they didn't count on this. They didn't count on the weakest and most frail and threatened people of our society, that they too can get on Twitter, and they too can get on Starlink, and they can be participate in the conversation. That
Right.
wasn't, they didn't
No,
count
no,
on.
no. No,
Okay.
absolutely not. No, no, that was never part of the plan. And that's what causes this alarm, that somehow you've democratized the internet, you've democratized
Oops.
speech, you've
Oops.
democratized, yeah, exactly. All sorts of people are now able to speak, communicate, exchange ideas. We can't have that. That's basically what they're saying. I mean, behind all these Carol Cadwalader and others, that's what they're saying. We cannot have people going on these social media platforms and exchanging ideas. Who the hell do they think they are? I mean, they have to do as they're told. Just accept, that we know better than they do. I am the truth, as that what's that New Zealand Prime Minister, the
Very
Jessica
much akin
Ardern.
to Fauci saying, "I am science."
I am
Okay.
science, exactly. That's it. And end of discussion. I am science. And who are you? You're nobody.
I don't know where this is going, George. I got a feeling, a real strong gut feeling, it's going to get a lot worse. With the hope that there might be some kind of crescendo as realizing the dystopia that these people are creating. But since these people are making the decision and considering their road record of the last half century, I don't know. Don't have much hope that it's going to end well. But one thing I do know for sure, it's going to get a lot worse.
I think it
Okay,
is.
a lot worse. No,
Absolutely.
because Alex Jones, that's the paradigm, oh, we got, that's a one-off, he was just
Right.
too radical and extremist and all that. But no, then you get somebody that you deem to be far left and then far
Right.
right. What you're doing is that you're trying, this relativism, that we're protecting speech from both sides and all that. And now they're going into people's homes, they're taking passports away. And what is the establishment's response? They either yawn or they say they deserve it. And then you have these ridiculous journalists cheering it on. So
Well, but that
there's
that and that was the key, because what they did with Jones was the crucial point, because most people didn't know much about Jones, but you say, like, the guy, he's a real extremist, he's a conspiracy theorist, we'll deplatform him. I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? I mean, we're just deplatforming some crazy guy, who's an extremist. You say, well, all right, yeah, why not? Just deplatform him. That's not going to have any repercussions. Well, it is, because there's going to be the next guy. They're not just going to stop with Alex Jones, but that
and
was the
then you
point. You have to get
deplatform,
get that first step in.
and then you deplatform a sitting president of the United
Exactly.
States.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
These people are so reckless. They're so messianic. They're a threat to the existence of humanity. And I say that lightly. I mean, this is again, if there is, if you don't have the media standing up and at least being even-handed about this, instead they're always with power,
Right.
and they've chosen sides, and their
Right.
side is against all the rest of us.
That's right. No, it's always the chosen sides, because they want to maintain that dominance of of the information space that they used to have. Even 20 years ago. You basically, you had the networks. You had cable. You had the big newspapers. That's it. They controlled what the information that people got. And now suddenly, when people are getting information and ideas from all sorts of different places, they're not happy about that. CNN does not want that. That's why, hence, they come up with these new coinages like disinformation, fake news, conspiracy theory. So somehow to delegitimize any other media outlet.
Just like when Bobby Kennedy was speaking after he dropped out or suspended his presidential ambitions and endorsed Trump, what did they do? They cut him.
That's right. Exactly. That's exactly what they did. Yeah.
You don't hear it, then it doesn't exist, huh?
Exactly. Oh, absolutely right. If you don't hear it, it doesn't exist. Yeah.
All right, everybody, that's our Sunday wrap. And tomorrow we do a live stream. We'll have Germany's 3 regional election results in
We'll
hand.
have 2 today, and I think there's another. There's the
Okay,
third one will be in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Okay, well, but 2 and key ones, and I'm anticipating a very good result. George and I will just
We'll
do a
just, yeah.
postmortem on it. I think we're on the money. I'm pretty much on the money here, and its implications and what's and why we should be looking at it even more. As one of my professors told me when I was in graduate school, said German politics, it's boring, and that's a good thing. Well, German politics are no longer boring, and we'll find out if it's a good thing or a bad thing. All right, George. This is Gaggle with Peter and George. We're on Local, so please go to thegaggle.locals.com, and I hand it back to George.
Exactly. So please join us 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow for our live stream. It's always a lot of fun. Come with lots of questions and comments and observations. We really like addressing those, and particularly when they're ready and waiting for us. So we've got something to sink our teeth into. And then speaking of sinking teeth, he wants to start sinking his teeth into my neck for the inadequate topping up of the tip jar. So
you don't want to mess the chihuahua. You don't want to mess with the chihuahua.
Yeah, they got strong jaws. He may be small, but his jaws are very strong. We're very grateful for all of your help, friendship, and support. The more you're able to donate, the more of these videos we can make, the more we can improve on the technology, and above all, we can just sort of calm him down and get these ideas into his head about sinking jaws in. It's not nice. So remember, if you like the Gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.